BeamFlex is really the core of every Ruckus product. When Ruckus got started, they wanted to make signal more reliable, and really the only way to physically affect signal is to physically affect it with an antenna. Now, most access points you're familiar with will have omnidirectional antennas. They're what we call the little rubber duckies. They stick up, they send all the signal around, and that's it. And those have traditionally worked okay. But what Ruckus has done is created an antenna array. So every device we have has an antenna array built in. And what that is multiple antenna elements. And those are selected electronically for the client. So every client device, whether you have 1 or 50 connected to that access point, gets its own custom signal. Now that has a lot of advantages. Number one, it focuses the signal. So anytime you want to talk to someone across the room, you tend to cup your hands over your mouth. That way you extend the range of your signal. So it does that. It makes it more reliable. As a client moves, it creates a custom signal. In fact, it even changes the polarity of the signal. So if you're using your tablet device up and down like portrait and you switch it to landscape and then tip it down on the table, you will get different signals from the Ruckus access point. So it's about reliability. It gives you range, reliability, and overall throughput and performance. So let's take a look at an example. We have different antenna designs for every one of our access points. Let's take a look at an example of one and see the details of that. This particular antenna is called Redshift. We give fancy names to all of our antennas. This one is from the 7962 and the 7762. This is a dual band, so it supports both 5 gigahertz and 2.4, and it's dual polarity. So you'll see these horizontal elements right here. Let me move my finger there for you. You see these horizontal elements. You'll also see some vertical elements, and this is what provides that ability for, say, when a tablet is changing orientation to keep the signal really good. This particular antenna has accelerometers on top that will actually know which way the access point is oriented and then best customize the signal. This antenna has 19 different elements, and each one of them are electronically selectable. If we look back here, we actually see some of the magic where that happens. So right back here we have this pin system and these pin diodes. What those are little valves. So that actually, as the energy comes in from the standard 11N chipset, it actually sends the energy to the elements as needed. Now that provides really, really good discernment. So you can actually see the signal is better from this system when you're using it. One of the benefits we've talked about is extra range, and a lot of our customers really appreciate that benefit. They end up using 30% fewer access points than some other product with omnidirectional antennas. But it's not always just about range. What you really want is focused signal. A good example is the wire. Why does the wired networking work so well? Well, because you can have 100 wires bundled together and each signal is different because the copper is carrying it. It's got this little container for it. Well, we don't have that in the air. We don't have these multiple ways to get 2 signals on the same frequency and have it easily discernible by a receiver. So what this access point does with this antenna system is actually make a concentrated signal. So one signal is sent to the client over here, and then the next moment it's sent over here. You get extra gain, but you get control. Now, one of the problems with Wi-Fi is self-interference. Wi-Fi devices, especially in high-density environments, basically you end up with not enough channels for how many APs you want. And what this gives you is when you focus the signal, a byproduct of that is where you don't send the signal. So when I'm sending the signal to a client over here, I'm not sending it all around here. So I'm actually creating less interference. Imagine when you're talking to somebody, you focus your voice towards them. Imagine you couldn't do that. Imagine that every time you talked, it just went everywhere. Well, if you're in a crowded room, that creates a lot of interference and it become quite bothersome to try to carry on a conversation. So the adaptive antenna system from Ruckus, called BeamFlex, very patented, very much unique to Ruckus, is a system that improves range, reliability, performance, and throughput. It's something you can trust, and it's something that we want you to test in real life, and you let us know what you see from it, because everyone else we talk to loves it and they see the results in person.